Welcome. My name's Sean Wright, and I'm joined by the one and only Harlem Eubank. Harlem, thank you very much for giving up your time, mate. Thanks for agreeing to join us for an interview. How is preparation going for next week?
Nice one, man. Good chatting to you. Yeah, preparation, everything's gone nice and smoothly. Yeah, everything. I can't say one thing hasn't gone right this camp. It's just ready to get in there and do the business. I'm excited to be fighting on Channel 5. First one, a lot of my stable mates on the card. Yeah, it's gonna be a great show, and I'm ready to put on an explosive performance.
Like you mentioned there, it's I know it's pedalled out quite a bit sometimes, but it really is a really competitive card. Some good fighters on there, good matchups, and I think it's really sort of key that we're getting a card on terrestrial TV, and I think a lot of people are really excited at that sort of the prospect of that literally anybody can tune in and it's accessible to everybody. Was that exciting for you when obviously this was announced and you knew it was going to be on mainstream TV?
Most definitely. Yeah, I was excited straight away. Obviously, I've seen my cousin come up on terrestrial TV on Channel 5. They were a lot of the fights that inspired me, like really to kind of tune in and really get into boxing as well.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this time's now come around where I can make my mark on terrestrial TV on Channel 5 and I can follow the same path as my cousin, following the same footsteps and make an impact and give a good account of boxing to terrestrial viewers who may not have watched it before. Show them something that may excite them and hopefully may they long continue to watch my fights in the future.
Yeah, I think quite interesting for me to hear you say that about obviously your cousin came up on Channel 5. Me showing my age a little bit as a bit of an old man, I was mentioning the point to might have been Linus Adolfi saying on mainstream TV. I think a lot of boxing fans would tune in and find a way anyway. But as a young lad, maybe when I shouldn't have been watching TV in my room a little bit late, I remember the ITV fight nights with Chris Eubank Sr. and that piqued my interest and sort of had me captivated. So I think it's great that we may end up sort of attracting even maybe older audience, younger audience, people that might not have already tuned into the boxing and capture a different type of fan or more fans and more eyes on the sport. Because I think, and again, it's been mentioned a few times, but sometimes boxing doesn't get the same coverage as us fans would like maybe in the mainstream. So I think that's important as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, boxing is such a great sport for so many reasons. It takes kids off the street, doing, less, expending their energy in ineffective ways, and actually grasp their energy and gives them a focus and takes them off the street and guides them into something that is more worthwhile that they can direct their energy into. It teaches many life skills. It helps you interact with people in a different way, overcome adversity, and deal with things that in a physical way that it's hard to get them lessons outside of a boxing gym. It's okay, a teacher sitting you down and telling you, but you don't really experience it. It's hard to take it in unless it's a physical environment. Especially as a young kid growing up. There's a lot of hormones going around and a lot of that need to just direct their energy into something positive, and boxing is very much something positive that people can get involved with. So for it to be on Channel 5, I think it will, not only is it exciting for people to watch, but it will bring eyes to the sport of boxing, and it will bring kids into boxing that might not have otherwise seen it, to become aware of this sport that they can get involved with. So I think it's a positive all round, it for entertainment wise and community wise.
A great point you make there. Obviously, with your fight coming up, I've seen sort of snippets of you being worked really hard and lots of conditioning going on. To be fair, you're looking fantastic, and you always do. It looks like you live the life. Do you feel like you're in the shape of your career, in the shape of your life?
Yeah, I do. I do see it as a as a lifestyle rather than just a camp. Like I'm in the gym constantly, so but I do feel like for this one I've peaked. Everything's come at the right time, like my weight, shape, fitness, and just mentally. Sometimes you can go too hard and burn yourself out, and I feel like everything's aligned nicely for this one. So I'm excited to get in there and show what I can do, and I'm feeling fresh, and yeah, in one of the best shapes that I've been in thus far. Yeah,
it seems that way, and there's very much a feeling with your career just at the moment, and with the last few performances that you've had, that it seems that you've taken it up a notch. Maybe that's because the sort of opponent that you've had, as they improve and they get better, we all know that sometimes early on in your career, you get a lot of experienced pros who know how to navigate the ring. They've got plenty of ring craft. It seems with the better opposition, you seem to be taking it up a little notch, and you're making a lot of people sort of sit up and take notice. Is that how you see it yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know I have a certain skill set to do what I do in the ring, but I think when the opposition come with that competitive edge, and they actually come to make a point, they leave themselves. Then there's gaps, There's gaps to expose, and in the fight game, it's hard to take people out and expose people unless they're coming to fight. And with the going through the opposition and stepping it up each time, getting more experienced people and fighters that have been in bigger fights in the past, it's they know how to navigate the ring, but two, they're coming thinking, this is an inexperienced kid, and I have the potential to catch him out here. So with that brings the best out of me, and when they're coming to take me out, they're going to leave gaps, and I'm going to expose them gaps.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there about sort of people that come with experience and they're quite wily and stuff, and I don't think it's unfair to say they don't come any more so than sort of Masher Dodd. And will that experience that he's had, and again, for the want of a better phrase, been around the block a little bit, will that sharpen your focus, and will you be wary of that threat of the experience that he has?
Most definitely. As far as I'm concerned, he's one of the hardest fights, one of the hardest matchups that I've had thus far. He's been in the big fights before. He's fought for British Commonwealth titles. He's been around the block. He's been in with great kids. He's been in with prospects. So I've got to bring the best version of myself to do what I want to do in the ring, and I feel like I'm going to put on a display, and I feel like I'm going to show a lot of people what I can do in this fight. As the experience gets better, I get better, and my focus, my training, my intensity, everything's heightening, and naturally, I'm not forcing it. I've always gone to the gym and into a fight with the temperament to give it everything. So just naturally now, it's everything's going up that notch, and that happens naturally as the opponents get that a little bit tougher.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier on the same card, you've got your stablemate Josh Kelly, obviously on the same card. Has it been ideal for you that you've been able to sort of sharpen each other? You've both got a similar time frame for that camp. Have you been using each other and sort of egging each other on, if you like, and sharpening each other?
Yeah, most definitely. It's always great working with Josh. He's so talented that he gives you that extra sharpness, that extra motivation to push on and try things and be creative in the ring. So yeah, we've been pushing each other on, and we're excited to put on a show live on Channel 5. The first one. It's going to be an exciting event.
Yeah, it must have been quite an exciting period of time for yourself. Obviously, you're sort of escalating through the rankings and your performances speak for themselves, but also the hookup with sort of Wasserman, and I spoke to Linus and he was sort of really excited about the future and the energy, if you like, that they're bringing, and he really feels like there's a hands-on approach with them, that they really have a belief in his career and his progression. Is that the same case for you?
Most definitely. The thing with the Wasserman brother, the thing with Wasserman, the Sauerland brothers, and now partnering with Channel 5, they have a real belief in their fighters, and they have a vision. Sorry, my
That's all right.
They have a belief in their fighters and a vision of where they can take them. And I think that paired with self-belief and a knowing of where you're going personally is a recipe to achieve great things in the sport. I think they're very experienced in the game and they know how to create and build fighters. It's all well and good having the talent, but building a fighter, they know how to do it better than anyone.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think most people would agree in their progression in the last few years, like you mentioned, the Sauerland brothers, and the sort of ingenuity of those competitions that they had, the World Boxing Super Series, and even the production of it and everything about it. Like you say, that must really whet the appetite for the fighters that are on their books and what's to come.
Definitely, they know all about show business, and that's what boxing is. But there's a process of building into that, building yourself and building a fighter into that person who can carry the weight and put on that type of show. So they know how to do that, and it's comforting to know your guidance and the careers in capable hands.
Yeah. I'm sure you get asked plenty, Harlem, about the name. It's a famous name, obviously, Eubank. And I'm sure you're immensely proud of that family name, and so there should be pride with it, with all the successes that have happened over the years. Is there an expectation sometimes attached to that name, and do you ever feel that expectation?
Definitely. So if you do something that's considered bad or not great, that's attached to the name.
Yeah.
If something good, you're carrying them up. So whatever you're doing has an effect or has a knock-on effect to that family name. So it's something that I want to uphold, and it's one of the reasons I train so hard in order to do that. There'd be no point me coming into the game and not taking it seriously, and putting one foot in and not fully committing to it, because so much has been achieved by the family and such a legacy has been left. It wouldn't make sense for me to do that. So from the beginning, I've everything into it, and slowly but surely, the performances are speaking for themselves.
I suppose you've probably had to be on your mettle right from the word go, because I suppose with that name obviously comes a bit of a target. I imagine it's a bit of a scalp for people. So as soon as people hear that name, I would assume that people would, somehow try and find that 10%. It's the Eubank name and stuff like that. So I guess you've had that from the beginning, have you?
Yeah, it's to be honest, it's exactly how you described it. It's a target on your head, but it helps you build that resilience. From the start, you kind of realize there's very few friends in boxing. It's everyone's out to better their life for their family. So it's a dog eat dog world, and it gives you a certain resilience when you know that if you're not on your A game, people are coming to try and take your head off.
Yeah.
So it gives you a different type of resilience from the start, I think, and helps build that mental fortitude that you're going to need when it comes to them championship fights.
Yeah. Obviously, you work under the guidance of Adam Booth, and I think there's obviously quite rightly a lot of respect for Adam and what he's achieved within the sport. And I think quite a lot of people see him as a real thinker of the game and quite a strategist. What's it like sort of working under his guidance?
It's great. It's great. It's similar to how I was talking about, it's when I was saying it's great knowing that your career is in capable hands, in terms of the promotional side of things. With Adam, it's the same, but in terms of training, I know that I'm following the right guidance in terms of what I'm doing. I know that the format of the training has produced world champions over and over again. So I'm confident in the fact of, do this training and lay it out this way, attack it with a certain intensity, and this is where I want to get to. I want to put my name in them history books also. So it's just, it gives you a different confidence that you're in the right hands, and that with the right approach and intensity and work ethic, that anything's possible.
Yeah, you obviously seem a really driven, motivated young man. Did you set yourselves any tangible sort of goals and achievements when you set out in boxing, or was there ever a ceiling, or was there a single goal in mind, or was it just a case of taking it sort of as it comes?
I wanted to achieve. I always set myself massive goals because I believe that I can achieve them. I believe that I have the raw, although raw skills don't really mean anything if you're not constantly progressing them. I believe I always had it in me to achieve big in boxing. Always been a big fan of combat, and physically and mentally, I feel like combat's built for me. So I always went into it with big dreams. I wanted to be a world champion, and that stays with me as I reach closer and closer towards it. Other than that, I mean, I could say there's titles and stuff that I want to pick up along the way, but really I just have that marker. I want to be a world champion. So within the next few years, that's the goal. Everything's towards that. Everything I'm training for now is for that, and the fights along the way are to mold me into the fighter I need to be to achieve that.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, it's an excellent platform to be on, and it's a good card. Obviously, Denzel Bentley and Linus Adorfi are headlining. There's some really good fights on there. Do you think this could be the springboard in your career to start sort of picking up those titles, or getting those sort of headline fights secured?
Most definitely. I think this is a great opportunity to show what I can do. As I said before, it's not an easy fight either. It's a tough matchup, and Masher Dodd, he's the most experienced opponent I've faced this thus far. So it's going to be interesting, but I really feel like I can put on a show come May 13th, next Friday, and like I say, the fights will get better and better each time as the opponents bring more. I'm going to match that with more ferocity, more work ethic, more of everything. So I think by the end of the year, the British title could very much be on the cards. But if not the British, then there's other titles. So yeah, I'm on a steam train towards that main goal I set myself, when I started. Yeah. So whatever way I get to that is the milestone. But I really feel like after this one, I will be steaming towards titles, and the British is one of them.
Yeah, you mentioned there about the British. Obviously, it seems that I say this about most domestic divisions, but the super light is really quite stacked with really good British fighters in there. The likes of Sam Maxwell and Robbie Davies Jr., Lewis Richardson, O'Hara Davies, and you're sort of mentioned in that company. I just wondered, is it ever in a boxer's mind? Do you ever think of potential matchups, or is it something that you sort of prefer to leave to your team to sort out? Is it, do you get excited about looking at those guys around you and the potential matchups?
To be honest, I don't really watch who's around me too closely. Yeah. I'm purely focused on becoming the best that I can be, and I know when I fulfill my potential, how good I can be, and I believe that I will rise to the top of the division. Stacked with talent, the 140-pound division and 147, they've always been the two that require the most skill, and where skill meets power, let's say. So it's always been one of the most talent dense divisions, them two. So it excites me to be amongst that, and I believe that I will rise to the top of it.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but I believe you played a bit of football in your younger days, and a very good level as well. And is it right that you're a Brighton fan?
Yeah. Played for Brighton since I was 11 years old. Started in under 12s and played until under 16s. So all my school years were pretty kind of focused and dedicated towards football. I had to skip the Friday nights out and play professionally on a Saturday morning. So
yeah,
I'm very fond of Brighton Hove Albion.
They're doing all right, man. I'm a Middlesbrough fan, so you should thank your lucky stars, mate. I guess it's not uncommon for a boxer to have like an affiliation with a football club, obviously. And it's a bit of a cliche question, but do you, obviously you get lots of support from Brighton fans. Would it be a dream to fight at the Amex Stadium? Is it something that you would like to do in the future?
Most definitely. I think for me, it's when I played football, at the time, I always thought, football was going to be my thing. And at the age of 18, boxing found me, and I never looked back. I didn't really play football after that, but now looking back, it's almost like boxing at the Amex would connect, my football aspirations as a kid. It's kind of like it would bring it full circle. So looking at that now, and obviously how well Brighton have done since then, it seems perfect that I would fight at the Amex one day, maybe on the undercard of Chris Eubank Jr. in a big fight, and myself in a title fight. Makes
I
perfect
mean,
sense.
that would be pretty epic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be great. It's a dream. That's a dream for sure.
Yeah.
So I think we can make it happen.
Why not? Why not? All that remains for me to say, Harlem, is I wish you well next week. Hopefully, I'll catch up with you after your fight. But once again, thanks ever so much for your time, and I look forward to catching up again soon. But in the interim, mate, all the best and good luck for next week.
Thanks very much, mate. And yeah, I'll catch up with you at the fight or after the fight.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Great stuff. Thanks ever so much, mate. Take care.
Take care, mate.
See you later, mate.